Welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel for part 2 of our Ferrari reunited Hot Wheels video dealio that we got going on. So today I've got 16 other Ferrari castings that were not included in the first video, and we're going to go ahead and go through them, see if we think they should be brought back, if they could be brought back, and what kind of improvements I'd like to see if they do get brought back. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. And we'll get things started with this F50 casting. So of the two F50 castings that Hot Wheels has, this one is by far better in terms of proportions and everything. It looks pretty good. I think this one might actually be a Corgi casting that was kind of retooled and repurposed when Hot Wheels bought Corgi. And if that's the case, I don't think they could bring it back like this. But I would not complain if they did. I think that this is pretty good overall. And I would like to see a modern 50 or F50 from Hot Wheels, but I think maybe a new casting would just overall be better. Let me know what you guys think, though. It could definitely use some better detailing because the casting is there, but the tampo work is just definitely not. Overall, though, I still really like this one. Next up, we have the 348 casting. Now, this one incorporates quite a lot of plastic. This entire, base section back here is all going to be plastic. Along the line. So, I mean, for the amount of plastic that our modern mainlines actually use, this one actually would fit pretty nicely. I just don't think the car itself is all that exciting. I don't really think anyone would be, stoked to have this one back. The casting is decent overall, but not amazing. Proportions are okay, especially for their time. I think if Hot Wheels really wanted to do a 348, it would probably just be better to make a new casting entirely. And here is the Ferrari 355. So I had a couple other versions of this casting, well, of this car on the last video with the Spider and the racing version. The stock, kind of just normal, honestly is probably the weakest of them. They seem the proportions are just a little bit off on this one. I'm not sure. I think it looks like it's been, I don't know. It looks like it's been stanced, like Carolina squat almost kind of deal. But, yeah, this would need some heavy retools, I think, if they brought it back. And, again, I just don't think it's a car that really needs to be brought back because I don't think anyone would be crazy excited for it. But if it's your favorite Ferrari, let me know for sure. Now, this one is a cool one. This is the 458 Spider. One of the last castings that Ferrari did, or that Hot Wheels did with Ferrari. Nothing too crazy here. It looks like a 458 Spider. This would probably have come out in 2011 or 2010 is my guess. But overall, it looks really good. Don't know if these wheels are the best choice, honestly. And I know a lot of people would complain about the bigger wheel in the back. But overall, this still feels very Hot Wheels. It feels like it could fit into the modern day lineup. I would definitely want them to rework this into a piece of plastic somehow, just so that this whole section should be black, and it's not. So retool it slightly so that this can be black up front, and then put some tampo work right here. I think would just be amazing. Maybe rework this into the base too. Definitely some small improvements that could be made, but overall I think the 458 Spider could be brought back just as is. Next up is one of my favorites. This is the F430 Challenge. Now this one right here, in terms of proportions and everything, is not perfect. There is definitely some room for improvement, and there are better 430 castings. So as much as I love this one, as much as this one is one that I absolutely adored when I was growing up, this is not a casting I feel like we really need to bring back. There are, again, just the proportions seem a touch off, but not bad. Big wheel in the back, people would complain about. But overall, other than that, the blue windows on this one are not amazing. But I still think this would fit in good with today. I just don't see them bringing this one back realistically. Next, we have the 365 GTB/4. Very cool casting. Nice classic red here. If they were to bring this one back, they would probably convert it to a plastic base or just make this a premium release only. Because seriously, with some good deco work, this is nice. This is really cool. Casting holds up. The detailing in there, everything is good. I don't have any real reason they couldn't bring this back. But again, the deco work would really need to be updated. This is probably from the late 90s. I'll have that on screen, obviously. But just update the deco, and I think that this casting could survive today just fine. This is the F50. This is the hardtop variant. This one is all Hot Wheels, all 100%. And it shows itself because it definitely has kind of the same vibe as the F355 that we talked about a minute ago, where the proportions and everything just seem a little odd. Seems like maybe it rides too high, or the splitter sits up too high. Overall proportions are just not amazing. It looks good, like standalone, but then put it up to other F50s and it looks too small. Put it next to other Hot Wheels Ferraris and it looks too small. It just has some things that are off about it. So if they're going to do an F50, which I would love if they did, I think a whole new casting is probably the best way to go. And probably just go ahead and make it mainline and give us some like headlight tampo work and simple things, because the BBR that is coming out for a premium version looks so good. I don't think that we really need to try to step on that one's toes. Just go ahead and make a basic one that is going to be fun to collect. Next up, we have the F12 TDF. No, sorry, just the standard F12 Berlinetta. Now, casting-wise, this is, again, one of the last ones that they would have done before they lost the license so long ago. Big wheel in the back would definitely drive some people crazy. However, I vibe with it. I don't think it looks bad. If they were to bring this casting back, they would definitely need to do some better tampo treatment, because what is that? There is nothing going on the booty there. Up front, again, this whole section, I think nowadays they could retool this right here and just make this a piece of the interior, or even raise it up and make it a piece of the base somehow. I think that would look a whole lot better than whatever we got here. But I appreciate the headlight tampos and the Ferrari logos. Definitely think this is a casting that could be brought back, would sell well. Maybe a retool, or bring it premium so you can give it a really good full deco. And here is the F40. Now, this is the original casting that has the opening part. This one was retooled to lose that kind of opening hood ability. Now, casting itself, a little bit weird, a little bit too thin, I think. Length, good, but perhaps just a little too thin. Definitely sits up too high. Shows its age for sure. I think it's a fast one down the track, which makes it highly collectible for people who really like to do the racing. Headlights are kind of there. Yeah, this casting cannot come back. The retooled version of it cannot come back. So they just show their age way too much. They got a really heavy feel with that metal on metal. I have a strong feeling that the F40 will be back. I don't know if we'll get a stock F40. I think an F40 LM or an F40 GT is much more likely. However, an F40 is an F40, and I think that we will see that before the end of the year. Next up, we have the 599 GTB. Very, very cool car, very cool casting. Again, we have the big wheel in the back, but I don't think that one would bother as many people. As just it looks good to me. It looks nice. I don't mind that at all. Up front here, actually really nicely done with the cutouts and everything. We get the front tampos, the headlights, and the Ferrari logo. Really, I think this casting could be brought back just fine. Like, we don't even really need to do any retools or anything like that. Bring this casting back, throw it in the main line. I think it would sell pretty well. It probably isn't anyone's like favorite Ferrari that they're dying to have come back, but I wouldn't mind picking up a couple extra. Now here is a heavy one. It's the Ferrari F512M. I've also seen this one branded as a Testarossa, so very curious there. It's heavy. This is just a nice heavy chunk of metal. Big plaster metal body. Big chunky metal base. If it came back, it would have to be premium for those reasons. But the casting itself shows its age. Like, look at that casting seam here in the back. That's pretty brutal. The way it's incorporated, this being into the interior and then the exhaust being a piece of the base. Very cool. But, again, doesn't hold that crispy detail level that a lot of the older castings still do. So if they were to bring back this, I don't think they will. To be honest with you, it would have to be heavily retooled. If you're a big fan of this car, I would just say probably try to collect these older ones, because I don't see this one coming back. Here is a fun one. This is the Ferrari 458. This is a casting I absolutely loved because I was obsessed with this car. It was a top 3 car for me back in like 2010. And I think I have every single release of this casting. I loved it. Much like the Spider, if we brought it back, retool this, make this a piece of the interior or something so that it can be black, so it can look more realistic. And then we're going to have to do a better job on that tampo of the booty section because yikes. Again, exhaust, do something with it, maybe incorporate it into the base. I don't know. There's a couple things that it could be done. The big wheel in the back, again, would bother some people. The proportions entirely is just a little bit off. It's a little too thick in spots, I think, for a 458. But it definitely still vibes with the Hot Wheel brand. I think it would still work. Slight retool. Honestly, if you brought it back exactly how it is, I don't think anyone would complain about that either, though. This is the Ferrari 550 Maranello. Now, this is one of those castings that I was talking about, how they're old, but they definitely still hold that nice detail level. Like, if we were to bring this back, I wouldn't have any complaints. It is metal on metal, so it'd have to go premium or it'd have to be reworked for a plastic base. The base actually extends up into the rear section here where the license plate and exhaust, I love that. I think it looks so good. This is, again, kind of a car that doesn't get a lot of love from Ferrari, which is odd because it does look good, I feel like. But, again, we would have to do some good tempo work up front and back. But I don't think a retool is necessarily needed, except for if you wanted to make it mainlined where it could have a plastic base. Don't see it coming back, however, though, because of I don't see this car being something that anybody's really begging to have come back. We're going to end the video off strong with some of my favorites. This is the F430 Scuderia. Oh boy, I love this casting, love this car. This is one of my favorite Ferraris of all time. And this casting, if we were to bring it back, I don't have any real big gripes or issues. Big wheel in the back, think people would again gripe about that, but it vibes with me. I like it. I don't have any hatred towards it. We have the like Pininfarina deco, or not deco, logo down there. We got some Ferrari shields over here. This front end executed so nicely. Interior, or not interior, window piece as the headlights up front. This is a piece of the base. This is a piece of the interior, looking amazing. When we come to the back, I do think that this could be better decoed, but I don't see it really happening, even on today's standards, if we got side and front, or on top like that. This casting, bring it back exactly as it is. I wouldn't have any gripes. Don't think anybody else would either. And I think it could still fit perfectly fine into the main line. This is the Ferrari California. One of the better ones that they did again. We have the nice headlights incorporated into the window piece. Then these cutouts here, interior, making it just look so nice. Down the sides here, not a lot to work with, but that's because we got a really nicely detailed rear section here. Again, exhaust kind of into the base. Actually, no, that is casted in. Anyway, though, I think you could bring this one back in just fine. Even have the wheels the same size. Like, this just looks so good. Bring it back. No complaints from me. However, if you wanted to do a California T, I would actually quite like that as well. And the final model for this video is going to be the LaFerrari. So, I have quite a few other Ferraris that I just didn't feel like digging up in my collection, like a 250 GTO, 250 LM, like just several other older style Ferraris that I didn't feel like digging for, but it's okay. This video has been long enough as it is. This LaFerrari is not coming back. I am so sorry, guys. Love the LaFerrari, absolutely do. But the casting itself is too narrow. But really, that's my only gripe with it, the too narrow factor. However, if we are to get a LaFerrari, it is going to be a totally new casting, and it is going to most likely end up as premium or elite or RLC, because I think what's going to end up happening is they are going to try really hard with this, because this is just a so-loved car that they kind of botched, especially for it being one of the last ones they did. I think they're going to redo it entirely. Maybe they'll kind of rework it slightly. But I think it'll end up being like an Elite 64 RLC, something like that. Because this casting itself, they're just not going to try to bring back. This, I still don't love, or I still don't hate it, but it's not their best work. And that is all I have for the Ferrari and Hot Wheels Reunited videos. Hope you guys liked them. Make sure you leave a comment down below telling me what your thoughts are. Which castings do you want to see? What cars do you want to see made that have not been made yet? Just your overall thoughts about Hot Wheels and Ferrari working together once again, guys. And I will see you in the next video.